Meta says everything's good. That's different than normal, right? Usually Meta's like everything's terrible and everything looks good. Now Meta's like everything looks great. Could this be Andromeda splitting out too much existing customers? Could be taking this new ad and showing it to these people, maybe turn a lot of people off. Could be. So those are things that we have to evaluate, but we have it controlled. We have it identified how it is actually affecting the main campaign. So kind of interesting to think about it. It's funny. I have these like weird epiphanies in the shower. I'm sitting there, I'm like, you know what? If a new ad set is only used for spend and the spend is used for the creative and the creative is going to go to the existing audience, I'm going to use the ad sets pragmatically. Like when I need something, not necessarily just as a SOP or like, well, new creative, got to put it in the new ad set. I don't want to do it that way. I want to say like, new creative, is it a different concept? How would this concept work blending in with the existing creative with the existing people? Yeah. But then also, how is it going to affect like the existing people plus new? And so we made a test, and I did it in one of the oldest Andromeda accounts that I have that's been following along with like the best type of performance or best type of I guess I would say instruction to the Andromeda model. By the way, my internet has been pretty much dead all day. I got to keep my camera paused. Otherwise, I'm just going to go completely off screen and like fail this thing. I've had to shift over 2 different Wi-Fi connections. So if I fall off, I will be back. It's just been really wonky today.
No problem. If you hear like a weird sound in the background, it's just my heater kicking in because it's like negative 20 here today. And it's, I know it's really cold where you are, like mid 70s. So it's
snowstorm at 74. I mean, like horrible. It's... Oof, like it is freezing here. Like, you know, you put on
even 80. Like, how do you exist?
You almost might have to wear like shoes instead of sandals. Like people in Florida are dying. That's okay. All right. So here's the whole model. We've had a company called Vermont Glove that I've been marketing for several years now. And we've swapped over to Andromeda back in May of 2015 or sorry, May of 2025, May 14th, 2025. Yep. We've been running this one campaign for a long time.
Think about how much you've learned since May of 2025 about Andromeda.
Oh, I know.
It's crazy.
I know. It is nuts because like everything has evolved so much where we basically, since launching this, we've spent 64 of the 135 on the new Andromeda model. And this one launched a long time ago. This was May 14th. This is the launch date right here.
That's awesome.
So we said, okay, we want to try testing a brand new type of creative. The problem is this brand new type of creative is a little controversial, a little bit of like tongue-in-cheek adult humor. So think about.
I did see this week. Okay.
Yeah. So this one is going to be. Yeah, so a little bit of kind of like tongue-in-cheek funny humor, but they're ignore the like he's got to use his hand for a job. That's as far as I'm gonna say anything. Okay,
we'll play on words.
Yeah, exactly. It's a glove. Okay, it makes sense. All right. So anywho, so he has to use a hand for a job. Anyway, we started the campaign off on a new ad set because what I wanted to do is measure what has been working in this campaign, which we have built for quite some time. The active ads are still 98. I have 98 active ads. This is a big campaign. I do not want to accidentally mess this one up.
Classic creative diversification. This is a great
exactly brand. Right.
Like this is not something that you wake up saying, "Oh, I want that." You're going to have to get an ad that shows you, "Wow, this is something that I really now need now that I know what it is."
Exactly.
And it's a glove.
Yeah. And exactly. I mean, everyone knows what a glove is. Out of 98 ads, 42 of them have more than $100 in spend. And we only spend $300 a day. So when we're talking about creative diversification, this is truly it. This is what we're actually talking about, which is I mean, great spend allocation. 7,800 on the first one, 7,800 on the second one, 5,800 on the third one, like great stuff. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to screw this one up because we have, a group of ads here. We made 15 ads because again, if you're going to make a concerted effort to change direction in your content narrative, you have to do so with both feet forward. It's not just dip a toe in it. You got to dive head first, which means I need 15 variations of this, including 2 different montages.
Meaning if you added these to the 88 other ads, would they get, I guess you're going to get to that. But I mean, what you're trying to do is you're trying to really test a new, completely different concept here that's like far away from everything else that you've done. And it's like, how do you do that in the Andromeda age? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to the question is, but anyway, I'm just sort of explaining it to people who sort of maybe are coming in midstream here.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's like if I put this into a campaign that has had ad spend on ads for over a year, would this even gain anything? Would it even gain any sort of value? Would it gain any sort of ad spend? And I didn't know the answer to that. And so I said, well, let's try it. So a few things that I noticed is that we have been running this for only 3 days. That's that you're kind of seeing like ground floor, like what's going on today. We've only been running it for 3 days. So if we look at a maximum of like 7 days in our, we spent $100. Like, I mean, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah. Nothing.
Now, what's interesting about though is we had no sales day 1, no sales day 2, 3 sales day 3, and those 3 sales that came in on day 3 are actually much cheaper than the people on day 1. Which means yesterday we have $33 CPA, which is fairly normal, but then this one's down to 15. We're like, okay, well, that's a good trend, but what happened to my other campaign before? I was like, well, is it hurting? I'm like, oh, wait, no, like this might actually be helping. And this is what I needed to see. I needed to see how these users were actually interacting with the other ads.
Granted, that's one day, but it's like your main campaign is 31% cheaper all of a sudden, which is
with 50% more conversions.
Oh, even better. Okay.
Exactly right. So that's why I wanted this in a separate ad set, because I'm working on a new Andromeda theory that's going to be creatively directed, which is if spend to ads is the most important, how do we get the most amount of spend to the most amount of ads that we want? So you could do that with ad set. Obviously, you could do that with ABO. I'm not doing ad spend minimums. I'm saying you're allowed to spend $50 today. Would you? Like that's what I'm asking is I said, okay, you can spend $50 if you want to. What did you do? And then obviously it says, okay, if I spent, 20, then I spent 50. So it got up to speed really quickly. That was the first thing I wanted to see is would it spend fast? Yes. Right. Then I wanted to see, well, let's look at the hook rate. So yesterday, 22. Okay. So the day before, let's see, the day before is 22.20. Okay, so this is actually a slightly better hook rate the day before yesterday. And what about day 1? 29.21. Okay, so this has basically had better hook rates, except for today on all 3-day averages, 23.21. This one's still in learning, by the way. But
buyers might have come online yet. I mean, you never know. Like you haven't really given it a full 24 hours, but yeah, so it's promising.
And we really only have new customers. We don't really have returning customers. That's why I'm not using any sort of CAPI imports, because if we look at the top line, yesterday we did have a whole bunch of like returns that we had to make, so that killed that. But I'm still up 94% orders, so that is neither here nor there. So we'll go through the top line here of results at a moment. But if I was running this in a different scenario, like if I was saying, hey, I don't know if this is going to work or not, and I don't even know if we should go after these people and yada, 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 then I might be singing a different tune in terms of, well, in regards to the CAPI imports. But right now, we don't have to worry about that. Okay. Let's keep going, though. So as of right now, I didn't need to worry about it. Let's see if I do. So inside of here next, we want to look at what is the engage view conversions versus click conversions. This company does have a lot of good visualizations, but they also do have obviously 100 ads have been running for like 100 days. There's a lot of things here that can take a lot of credit for something, even not on purpose. Yep. So we're looking at this saying, okay, if we have one day view but 2 clicks, good. I need to have more clicks than views. That's going to be super helpful for me.
Right.
If I see more one day views and clicks, this thing is doing more remarketing and not getting any sort of engagement. But hook rate tells me that people do like this and they are engaged at least throughout the entirety of the journey. And I do have still more clicks than 1 day views on both. So let me say, okay, last thing I wanted to look at.
Can I just put that screen back up there? The way to read that for somebody who isn't familiar with this, how to look at 1 day click, 7 day click, 28-day click. You read that as they're all 2s. So the new media buyer will be like, what does that mean? How do you interpret it?
We're looking at this right here.
Yeah. Like for me, I would look at it and say, okay, well, it's not a 7-day click. It's like people are clicking this within 1 day and buying. At least 2 of them did. Another person viewed it and then maybe converted elsewhere, maybe on the secondary campaign. I'm not really sure, but actually, no, it wouldn't be. That probably means that they did a Google search or they did something or found it elsewhere.
Mhm.
So how would you interpret that click data, I guess, is the question. And this is a basic question for you, obviously, but more for our listeners or watchers.
Yeah. Like how am I going to be interpreting like the clicks, this group here versus that group? Yep.
Correct.
So typically what I'm looking at is if I want to know if a campaign is stealing attribution or if it's actually delivering contribution, I look at, well, what did it take credit for? What type of engagement? Now, 1 day engage view is never meaning that it's bad. It doesn't mean that this is remarketing. And 10 1-day views does not necessarily does not guarantee that it is remarketing. What this means is that these people simply saw an ad and converted without ever clicking on it.
Yep.
Now that by definition is remarketing. When you're re-engaging people that are not making their buying decision and they're still seeing an ad and they're converting. However, you can also get the people that are seeing an ad, Google the brand name and convert. That can also be in here.
Right.
So now over here on the 7-day clicks, I don't have that question. I know that everyone that had a conversion in here at least clicked on this campaign, at least the last thing that they did.
Right.
So if I look and say, do I have more clicks than remarketing? Do I have more clicks than remarketing? Yes, I know these are clicks. These may not be clicks. They could be prospecting, or they also could be remarketing. It's always binary. I always want these, but I never want these to be higher.
Got it.
But I still want them.
Sure.
Because then it means that, okay, I'm getting some people clicking on it. Exactly right.
I mean, you're checking with the source of truth inside Shopify too. Yeah. You're cross-referencing it, of course.
Well, that's the last thing that we have to check. Exactly right. So we go day by day because I'm no longer using because I'm not using CAPI imports. I got to look at something here. Like let's just look at yesterday. So we have to look at it, not between. Sorry, I have to say is. So we have to say is exactly yesterday. How many new customers do we get yesterday? 20. Okay, what did I spend yesterday? Well, yesterday we spent in the ad set, because that's the only thing that we really care about. We have a amount spent of yesterday versus the day before of, well, actually, let's do this. Let's do 3 days total. So let's look at the full total impact. It looks like all of the conversions from 47 went down to 26, so down 44. Then we had 3 there. Now that is not a good look. When you see $73 going from 19 up to 33, then 38, this is looking really, really, really poor. 921 down to 8. So we basically spent the same, but in that entire 3-day test, everything looks like it did worse. Yes, that would technically be the correct assessment of that in-platform data. So then we have to look at it and say, okay, well, what actually happened here? So if we look at the first order date, between the last, the last 3 days, we have 58 new customers. Let's look at that comparison to the previous period. So we have 58 during that time period of 10, 11, 12. We have to go to 7, 8, 9. So we got 10, 11, 12. Let's look at 7, 8, 9. How many customers do we have there? So we have 58 this time period, 105 this time period. A lot more. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Now there was a lot more. Now the bad part is
a lot of people in Massachusetts are buying these gloves. I noticed. Maybe it's so freaking cold here.
I think so. I think it really. Yeah, I think it really is that. I think it's that actually freaking cold.
Yeah.
Now, here's what's interesting: is Facebook has 37% less, Instagram has 95% less when we're looking at these date ranges. Now the problem is we did suck out a whole bunch of orders with returns. So that part we have to take a look at and say, well, if you can't count it as a new order, if you did get an order and they did get returned, this is actually looking really, really poor from the previous time periods. That was yesterday.
Right.
So yesterday is kind of like, well, is this actually hurting us? Well, let's look at the top line here. So 10, 11 minus yesterday compared to the previous period, still down 55%. Well, it doesn't look like things are going good right now. Email is down quite a bit from sales. So that part we have to say, okay, we lost $1,000 there. So 51, we lost 7. This is not looking good at all. Facebook is still going high. Facebook is seeing more sales, but my Google, usually that is a lot of re-engagement, remarketing, is tanked down. So what is the results here? Too early to tell. Yeah. Absolutely. For sure. Way too early to tell. I have a lot more orders fulfilled. I have a lot of returns. I have orders down, but I have more new customers. This is very, 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 very wonky. Now, this is a weird test because we are going into a slower time period. We do tend to drop off kind of like in the beginning, middle of February, and then we pick back up in March and April when we're springtime because we're coming out of winter, trying to sell winter gloves. But it is interesting to see that if we're looking at the last 7 days compared to the previous 7 days, not including this time period here, that after adding in these new ads and Meta saying everything is getting better, I would slightly disagree. Instagram's worse, Facebook's worse. Nothing is green here. My conversion rate's down. My orders are down. My return customer rate is up. Search is down. This is down, 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 down. So absolutely not looking good for the last week. Yesterday was the first day that we got orders. Yesterday looks amazing. 100% more orders, but 42% returned yes. Now, we did have a whole bunch of returns here that I can't see the actual attribution, but conversion rate is up 54% and sessions over time is flat. Okay. So this is what I'm saying is the week, horrible. Last 3 days, kind of mediocre. The first time that we got sales was yesterday, and yesterday looks fantastic. So right now, no idea what we should do, except for wait, because it's only been 3 days. Now, here's what I'm expecting. If over the next week, we keep spend flat, we're going to not touch anything. Next Friday, we're going to review this because I always tell my clients, if you're launching a test and the first few days look bad, don't do anything.
Right.
We saw the first 2 days. Exactly. The week, shit. The first 2 days, horrible. Yesterday, 100% new customers. Wait a minute. Hold on. We went from 10 and 12 new customers to yesterday, we got 22.
Right.
So, okay, all of a sudden things doubled yesterday and we all of a sudden have better hook rates. So we have better in-platform metrics, better top-line metrics. Let's hold tight. That's all we're doing. We're just going to wait. We're just going to hang tight, wait and see how this starts to progress as we just literally give it just nothing but time. Yeah. But it is good to see like this is not every single thing is a home run. We have to evaluate everything. If I listen to Meta says everything's good.
Yeah.
That's different than normal, right? Usually Meta's like everything's terrible and everything looks good. Now Meta's like everything looks great. Top line,
yeah,
not looking great. Could this be Andromeda splitting out too much existing customers? Could be taking this new ad and showing it to these people, maybe turn a lot of people off.
Yeah,
could be. So those are things that we have to evaluate, but we have it controlled. Mm-hmm. We haven't identified how it is actually affecting the main campaign. We also can see the hook rates. We can also limit spend. I've capped it so that using an ad set pragmatically, I can only have 20% of my ad spend to spend on these new creatives that are a completely different direction. New concept, new hook, new offer. Everything's brand new. If I stuck this to the main campaign and it got spend and the top line looks like this, I would be panicking.
Yeah.
Hook rate's better. It would have absolutely got spent. It started spending full budget day 2. This thing could have spent $300 a day and killed my whole company because we chose the wrong concept. So kind of interesting to think about how you can.
It is really interesting. Yeah,
exactly.
It's super interesting. But what's throwing me off sort of in my brain is the day of like where you got all those returns. And I forget now, like which day that was. Sorry, my phone is buzzing.
The best looking day.
The best looking day, and you got returns on that day. So I would take that as like a positive. Like
I think so,
but it's too early to say because it's what 3 days. You've been testing this 3 days, less than 3 days, really.
Yeah. So that we'll kind of see like how this progresses. But yes, I think right now it's kind of safe to say that. So far, the results are inconclusive, but trending poorly. That's not going to say that it's going to end poorly. It just means that it's trending poorly right now. That's kind of what it looks like to me.